From the Pep Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are following at this hour. Several rulings were handed down from the U.S. Supreme Court today, and here's what we know about them. The Supreme Court OKs fee subsidizing phone and internet services. The justices, by a 6-3 vote, reversed an appeals court ruling that had struck down as unconstitutional the Universal Service Fund, the charge that has been added to phone bills for nearly 30 years. At arguments in March, liberal and conservative justices alike expressed concerns about the potentially devastating consequences of eliminating the fund, which has benefited tens of millions of Americans. The fee provides billions of dollars a year in subsidized phone and internet services in schools, libraries, and rural areas. The Federal Communications Commission collects the money from telecommunications providers, which pass the cost on to their consumers. The ruling crossed ideological lines with Justice Kagan writing for the majority in an opinion that included several conservative justices. A key part of Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, coverage requirements has been preserved. The Supreme Court rejected a challenge from Christian employers to a key part of the Affordable Care Act's preventive health care coverage requirements, which affect some 150 million Americans. The 6-3 ruling comes in a lawsuit over how the government decides which healthcare medications and services must be fully covered by private insurance under former President Barack Obama's signature law, often referred to as Obamacare. The Trump administration defended the mandate before the court, though the Republican president has been critical of his Democratic predecessor's law. Nationwide injunctions have become a favored judicial tool during the Trump presidency. A Supreme Court opinion limiting the use of nationwide injunctions takes aim at a judicial maneuver that has soared in popularity during the first several months of Trump's second term. A Congressional Research Service report identified 25 cases between January 20th and April 29th in which a district court judge issued a nationwide injunction. Those included cases on topics ranging from federal funding to diversity, equity, and inclusion considerations to birthright citizenship, the subject at issue in Friday's Supreme Court opinion restricting their use. That number contrasts with 28 nationwide injunction cases that CRS identified from former President Joe Biden's administration and 86 from Trump's first term. The report cautions that it's not possible to provide a full count since nationwide injunction is not a legal term with a precise meaning. The second highest ranking Justice Department official joined Attorney General Pam Bondi and President Trump at the White House to praise the new limits on nationwide injunctions. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche accused local district judges of issuing rulings contrary to the law just because they don't like Trump's policies, adding that Justice Department lawyers have been working nonstop to fight such rulings. They should be doing the work that the president and this administration demands and has a right to demand, and not fighting those local judges who don't make decisions based on the law, Blanche said. Incredible. The U.S. Supreme Court today sided with Maryland parents over LGBTQ plus storybooks. The justices ruled that the Montgomery County school system in suburban Washington could not require elementary school children to sit through lessons involving the books if parents expressed religious objections to the material. The decision was not a final ruling in the case, but the justices strongly suggested that the parents would win in the end. The school district introduced the storybooks, including Prince and Knight and Uncle Bobby's Wedding in 2022, to better reflect the diversity within the district. In Uncle Bobby's Wedding, a niece worries that her uncle won't have as much time for her after he gets married to another man. Donald Trump seems to think that the school decision will, quote, bring life back to normal. I think the ruling was a great ruling, he said about the Supreme Court's ruling allowing parents to withdraw children from public school lessons using LGBTQ plus materials. Trump added, they lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. This is a tremendous victory for parents. Not to be outdone, Christian legal advocacy groups have been calling LGBTQ plus books case ruling a monumental victory. Alliance Defending Freedom praised the decision allowing Maryland parents who have religious objections to pull their children from public school lessons that use LGBTQ plus storybooks. The U.S. Supreme Court's decision is a monumental victory for parents and their fundamental right to make decisions consistent with their religious beliefs about the upbringing and education of their children, John Birch, Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel and Vice President of Appellate Advocacy, said in an emailed statement. Government officials can't force parents to give up that right or violate their religious beliefs in exchange for a public education, he added. If they don't want a public education, I'm sure there are plenty of versions, such as homeschool or private schooling, that those parents can send their children to. Incidentally, this isn't a total victory for Alliance Defending Freedom. It should be noted the case has been remanded for further review. We'll keep an eye on this story as it continues to develop. We will have further updates this evening on our news blast. That's the news at this hour. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.